For the past year, my marriage has felt less like a partnership and more like a quiet contract. Two people coexisting, exchanging logistics and pleasantries, but rarely warmth. I never imagined we'd end up like this. Once upon a time, we were that couple. The ones friends envied, the ones strangers admired at parties. You two are perfect together, they used to say. But perfection, I've learned, is often a mask stretched over fractures that no one sees until light hits just right. In the early days of our marriage, everything felt right. We laughed easily, touched often, connected deeply. Emotionally, physically, we were magnetic, natural, the kind of intimacy you don't question. But somewhere along the line, something shifted, subtle at first, easy to ignore. I thought maybe it was just life, work stress, long days, bills, deadlines. I gave her space, believing it was temporary, that she'd find her way back. But the space became a pattern, and then a wall. I'd reach for her at night. She'd turn away. I'd plan romantic evenings, little getaways just the two of us, and she'd back out with excuses. Tired, overworked, not in the mood. Every time I tried to create closeness, she pulled further away. I asked if something was wrong. Gently, repeatedly. Every time, her answer was the same: everything's fine. But when the woman you love begins to treat your touch like an inconvenience, fine starts to sound like a lie you're supposed to politely believe. Still, I kept trying. I cleaned the kitchen. I folded laundry. I cooked her favorite meals and ran errands without her asking. I left little notes, brought home her favorite wine. I thought maybe I wasn't being affectionate enough. Maybe I needed to earn back her love. But my kindness echoed in an empty room. Her silence grew colder. Her eyes stopped meeting mine. Our conversations reduced to schedules, bills, chores. Not once did she ask how I was. And truthfully, I was unraveling. I felt invisible, unwanted, like a man who used to be kissed and was now tolerated. Intimacy isn't just about bodies. It's about presence, effort, connection. And I felt like I was losing all of it. I once suggested therapy. She waved it off with a clipped, "We don't need therapy. You're just being overly sensitive." That sentence lodged itself in my chest like a shard of glass. Was I being dramatic? Was I asking for too much? So I stopped asking. Stopped leaning in for a goodnight kiss. Stopped reaching for her hand. Stopped initiating conversations that only ended with her distracted, her eyes on her phone. I didn't announce the change. I just let it happen. Quietly. Like erosion. Funny thing is, that's when she noticed. She started asking, "Why are you being distant?" I didn't answer at first. What was there to say? That the mirror I'd been holding up was now in her face, and she didn't like the reflection? She began making demands. Little things. Can you pick up groceries? Fix a sink. Drop this off. At first, I said yes. I always did. But eventually I started saying no. Not with anger. Not with resentment. Just with clarity. If my needs didn't matter, if my voice didn't count, why was I still showing up like hers did? It wasn't vengeance. It was a natural shift that happens when you stop begging to be seen. She called me petty, cold, selfish, but I stayed calm. I told her, simply, every time I reached out, you turned away. Now I'm just giving you what you gave me. Her face went still. No defensiveness this time. Just silence. I think, in that moment, she understood this wasn't a tantrum. It was a consequence. A few days passed. Then she came to me, eyes red, voice shaking. She asked if we could talk. And for the first time in a long while, she didn't talk over me. She cried. She admitted she'd been overwhelmed, emotionally shut down, said she didn't understand why she kept pushing me away, that somewhere along the way, she'd started taking me for granted, that she thought I'd always be there, always trying. I listened, quietly. I didn't jump to forgive her, because apologies are easy. Change? That's where the truth lives. I told her I needed time, not out of cruelty, but because I honestly didn't know if what we had could be rebuilt. Since then, she's made small efforts, booked a counseling session, reached for my hand, Initiated brief, hesitant moments of closeness. They aren't grand gestures, but there's something. And for the first time in a long time, I'm not the only one trying. I'm not proud of the fact that I had to pull away to be seen, that I had to become distant just to matter. That isn't who I am by nature. I love deeply. I give freely. But I've learned something important through all of this. You can't keep pouring into someone who lets your cup run dry. We're still figuring it out. There are good days. There are still quiet, awkward ones. But at least now we're honest. She isn't expecting without giving, and I'm not offering without receiving. We're meeting somewhere in the middle. Time will decide what that middle becomes, whether we rebuild or part. But I've made a vow to myself, one more sacred than the one I said at the altar. I won't beg to be loved. I won't bleed just to keep someone warm. And I won't give more than I receive. Not anymore.